Welcome to the Somos Sunnyside podcast, brought to you by the Office of Public Information, where we are sharing stories about the bright side of education.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. I'm your host, Jose Gastelum, the proud superintendent of the Sunnyside Unified School District. And today we have several guests. We have our partners, we have a teacher, we have an officer here, we have Tucson Youth Music here. But before we get into our conversation and what we want to share about the great things we are doing at Sierra K-8 school, we're going to take the time to have each person introduce themselves. So we'll start over here to my left.
Thank you, Superintendent Gastelum. I'm Dana Wier, President and CEO of Tucson Youth Music, and we are so happy to be here. It's been a pleasure and a delight to work with Sunnyside. We're looking forward to telling about our partnership.
Granger Vinall, I'm the board chair for Tucson Youth Music, and like Dana said, we're very excited to get out in the community doing what we're doing.
Awesome.
Lieutenant Faith Schrouder, I work with the Tucson Police Department in our Operations Division South and proud participant with On Beat Studio, which we'll learn more about today.
All right.
And I'm Thomas Garcia. I teach the orchestra programs at Sierra K-8 and Esperanza Elementary.
Well, awesome. Welcome everyone. And as I said earlier, this is definitely a group effort, and we're going to hear from all sides. So, I want to take us back to, why we're here and where we have come. This started off as an idea. Ms. Wier had reached out, Tucson Youth Music, and at the time it was Captain Peterson, who's now, gotten about 10 promotions. So I don't know, he's like an assistant chief now, right?
That's right.
So he's big time now. So Captain or Assistant Chief Peterson, let me get that right, Mickey Peterson. They had reached out and they brought this idea of, how can we provide students opportunities, but providing opportunities where everyone benefits. Not only the students, the community, law enforcement. So there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. And so I know I'm not doing it any justice in terms of articulating the whole why, but I just wanted to paint a picture of how it all came together. So I was approached about this opportunity. And so I'm going to have Ms. Wier talk a little bit about, how it started and why it started and where we're at today. And so, everybody will have an opportunity to give their perspective. But, one thing we do know is that it's taken off since we've started, and it's going fast. And I've had the opportunity of visiting the students in the classrooms there at Sierra, and I want to give a shout out to Principal Miss Encinas over there for supporting this, because we have happy students, and we have students that want to be there, and students that want to learn, and students that are going to benefit from this program. So let's go into it. Let's talk about what this all means, how this started, and all the benefits from it. Because everybody has their own little baby in terms of why they're doing this.
Thank you. What Tucson Youth Music has been doing for more than 7 decades is providing music education for underserved youth. A couple of years ago, we made the acquaintance of Chief Peterson. As Superintendent Gastelum noted, at the time, he was Captain Peterson, and we started talking about our overlapping roles. Community service officers and student engagement officers at TPD are skilled in mentoring young people, and they're skilled in juvenile assessment. Likewise, our educators are skilled in mentoring, and of course, they're quality teaching musicians. So we thought there was a way to combine our respective work with young people in our community who might be underserved and move the ball down the field with some innovative thinking. So what we've done is we've combined the mentoring and directional skills of both the TPD officers and our Tucson Youth Music teaching musicians, and we're providing an after-school music education program. And what makes this different and unique is that the program is immersive. So these kids commit to music lessons 3 times each week, Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturday mornings. So it's a big commitment on their part, and likewise, we're very committed to these children.
Yeah.
It turns out, what we found out was this program had been launched in a very similar way in Long Beach, California. So we looked at their metrics. Their metrics were rigorous, and we are evidence-driven. So we're really excited to move this forward and tell you about it.
All right, thank you for that. I think one of the things that I love the most about this program is you put these adults in front of kids, whether they're musicians, whether they're officers. They learn skills on how to communicate with the other students, and so one of the pieces is the relationships with law enforcement as well. And so I know in some places, I'm just going to say it, people are intimidated by officers. People are intimidated by the uniform, or their first experience with an officer may not be, a good experience. And so, here at Sunnyside, I think we've always prided ourselves in having good relationships with law enforcement, especially TPD. They've been great partners of ours for many years. And so it's not, it's common to see officers in our school. It's common to, a lot of times, they're there for safety and security reasons. They're there for football games, but in this case, they're there to build relationships. And so, Lieutenant Schrouder, tell us a little bit about, the angle from TPD, the experiences that some of the officers have. I mean, when I look at some of the pictures and some of the videos that we've captured, it's neat to see the officer in uniform playing a guitar, right, or interacting with the student, and it just shows that our officers have so much more to give to the community. So if you want to talk a little bit about that for us.
Yes, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on it. It's been extremely exciting to be a part of the partnership. You're right. Sunnyside specifically was chosen because of the great partnership that we already show in your guys' focus on innovation and being open to innovation. The idea of putting instruments in kids' hands who want to participate, who maybe didn't feel like they could participate before, putting instruments in kids' hands so that they can participate in something else, to get music lessons from skilled instructors who they may not have had the opportunity to have that type of lesson previously. And this is adjacent to what we call our VIVA site, so it's adjacent to what we say violence, intervention, vitalization, and action site. So an area very, very close to this particular area that was at one point high crime. It was high violent crime at that. And there is a proven correlation between intervening in a child's life early on, the younger the better, getting involved in a child's life at that point and intervening so there's another way, and to see positive interactions with police. It may not always be a positive thing, but to know that the person sitting in the room who's messing up the notes with them, who's learning the instrument, and sitting there with them can be someone they can trust, and that officers can be someone they can trust. It has been key. Some of the kids have shared their own stories. They feel comfortable enough to share. I know someone who's been in trouble, or I know somebody who's been in jail. That's okay. Part of the mentorship is to say, that's right, some of the people I know and love the most have gone through similar. Doesn't mean you can't still love them. And to have that safe space where they feel like they can talk to a police officer and to play music with a police officer, to be enriching their lives, has been a huge blessing for me to watch.
Right. So, and I want to thank you for what you guys are doing. I mean, this is just, again, it's an incredible experience for students. And you're right, I think you hit it right on the nose. I mean, the earlier we get students interacting with community members, whether you're law enforcement, whether you're a musician or outside organization, the better. They need to be exposed to that. And speaking of being exposed, I mean, a lot of our kids, they love music, right? They love the arts, the fine arts. But sometimes they don't have the means to have those professional lessons. They don't have the means to take those private lessons. And our music teachers do an outstanding job here in the district, but they have to serve a lot of students, and so a lot of times they don't have the ability to do the one-on-ones, and so this after-school program, I'm sure, brings that opportunity. And I want to hear from our teacher here, Mr. Thomas Garcia, who teaches at Sierra and Esperanza, and in this case, we're going to talk a little about Sierra K-8, and what has the experience been like for you as a teacher?
As a teacher, it's been a really great experience for me to grow. I started teaching about 13 years ago, maybe 15 years ago now, and I left the teaching profession for about a decade, but eventually I think music called me back. I was literally having dreams about rehearsing and making music and playing music, and I realized that this really was a lot closer to my heart. Then I looked into, I think I came across an article about Arizona needing teachers, and I felt like this was close to my community, the border community. I'm from New Mexico originally, and I've had a lot of amazing musical experiences in my life, and feeling like I could share those with students through music, and building the sense of community, especially here close to the border, where so many people are still battling with things like multiculturalism and, like you said, all of the violent crimes. And it's just an area where I felt like I could do a lot of good, and a lot of good has been done for me at the school district. There's been an incredible team. The music department has, they're so organized, they're so welcoming and ready to help. It's very organized. I feel a lot of support from the administration. I feel a lot of support from the community. So as a teacher, as a person that's coming back into teaching and having my own doubts and things, it's been really reassuring and reaffirming to see everyone's commitment to these students and to what we're doing. And then the fact that this opportunity has arisen, I think it's a way to reach a little bit deeper than just having a music class, because we are reaching students that normally would not be enrolled in a music class, whether they didn't think they could, or they think that maybe they have other prerequisite classes that they need to be taking instead. So for me as a teacher, it's been very engaging, very very fulfilling. It can demand a lot, but the motivation I find is very true, and I don't think there's anything more important that we could be doing than helping to build the community and make those connections with the students. And like you say, the sooner the better, and where the students realize that we're here for them, and that we want them to make those connections. I've had students that have challenged my patience, and I've had students that have exceeded my expectations with their passion and the drive that they show. And then the best part is that they're befriending one another, and it's realizing that that's what a lot of these students need, in addition to the instruments and the teaching. They need friends, they need community, they need a support structure where they can have fun and feel safe and do something good.
Well said, and we're super lucky to have dedicated instructors like yourselves, that really just lead with passion, right? Lead with passion, and you lead with a purpose, and when kids know you deeply care about them, that's when you tap into their strengths. Well, don't go away. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back. We got a lot more to share with you.
Sunnyside students can have it all, learning and growing to graduate college, career, and community ready. Don't believe us? Just watch. At Sunnyside Unified School District, we are preparing our graduates with real-world skills and experiences. Our graduates are leaving Sunnyside to pursue an Ivy League education, becoming collegiate-level athletes, and earning prestigious scholarships such as the Gates Millennium, Dell, and Dorrance.
All right, so we haven't heard from Mr. Granger Vinall. What a cool name, Mr. Yeah. Granger Vinall. So you are.
It was a birthday present.
It was a birthday present, huh? Yeah, a memorable one. So you are the board chair for Tucson Youth Music, and so when this idea came your way, what was your first thought? You know, and you know, tell us a little bit about that, because I'm sure you had a lot of questions.
If I can backtrack just a little bit to go back to something she said, and it will lead into the answer to your question.
Absolutely.
So the organization was around for 75 years. I've lived in this town since 1973, and I'd never heard of it. And its whole mission was to teach music to kids. Mm-hmm. They had 3 buildings down by TPD headquarters at Stone and 15th, the old Amato houses, and the students had to come to them. Well, my career was in the insurance business. I had a company called Employers Dental Services, and we had to go out and get customers. And so my reason for even getting involved, besides Dana and her former partner arm twisting me to do it, was there's so much science out there that demonstrates how music changes kids, gives them discipline, helps them with all the other classwork, with math and all those things. I said, well, we've got this mission to provide music to kids, but let's go out and do it. So our board agreed, and the board gave Dana the direction of, let's find a way to do this. Some fateful trips into a relationship with TPD, they started talking about it. Mickey gets excited about it. One of the things Mickey said is, in 30 years in law enforcement, he's never chased a kid down an alley carrying a violin. So he got behind the program. You thankfully took the risk of doing this because it hadn't been done outside of Long Beach, right? It's only, we're the second of this program that we know of. And I was telling Officer Schrouder earlier, my superpower is I detect negativity in a room. I've done it as a defense mechanism my whole life. And you were there, when we toured the lessons with the county superintendent a couple of months ago or weeks ago, the joyfulness in each of those rooms was palpable. And to hear the assistant principal from Sierra say, well, these kids are changed, and they're changing, and they're bonding. And I'm thinking to myself, so our goal as an organization, and my personal goal, since I moved here in 1973, is to have a better community. And I think getting to these kids early with music is going to help TPD accomplish their goal of, they don't want kids, no parent wants their kid to have a negative interaction with law enforcement. So we can help with that. You summed it up for me beautifully. You want programs that engage kids in scholarship. That's a great motivation, and this program can do that. I just want a better community for my kids, you know. So here we go.
Yeah, and you know, in all transparency here, you know, and I think when I was first approached about it, I'm from here, so I graduated from this district. I'm from this community, and I'm very protective of our kids and our community, and we get a lot of outreach in terms of research projects and things like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, our kids aren't going to be your guinea pigs and this and that. So I was a little defensive at first when this all first came, but what I've seen is really changed my outlook, and I can see the big picture now, right? And for me, it's about school connectedness. It's about students being connected to school in some way, and with the On Beat Studio, they're being connected through music, through law enforcement, through building relationships, you know, with mentor teachers. And there's a lot of benefits that can come from it. You know, not only are students learning music lessons, they're learning how to interact with people, and therefore they're going to be better and more productive community members. And so I think that's the big goal. And if we look at it from that lens, then I think we're off to a really good start. And so I want to thank you all for really putting forth the effort and bringing this to fruition, because when we first started talking about this, I was like, oh no, that's a lot, right? I mean, there's obviously nobody wants to talk about the money, but there's money involved. This isn't cheap. You know, you have to pay instructors and you have to raise money. And so I do want to talk a little bit about how people can support, you know, for our listeners out there, for those individuals that want to learn more about this program. How can they learn more about it? How can they get involved? Is there websites? Is there contact information that we want to share out? Because, again, I am a true believer that kids come to school every day for a certain reason. And now I know we have kids at Sierra K-8 that are coming to school because of this program as well. And so this OnBeat Studio program is off to a great start in year 1. And I know we want to expand it. We want to provide more opportunities for students. So, Ms. Wier, tell us a little bit how people can know more about it, learn more about it, and get involved.
Go to TucsonYouthMusic.org and click on the OnBeat Studio, and you'll see what we're doing. You'll see photos of the children learning, enjoying one another. So our website is one way. You can call me. Again, I'm Dana Wier, President and CEO of Tucson Youth Music. Call me at 520-975-3787. Let's talk about how we can continue and expand this program. It has potential for systemic change. We're reaching these children at a young age, and they're owning it. They are, as Granger mentioned, they're happy and cheerful, and we want to keep that going. It spills into their other classrooms. It spills into their attitude about school and education. Quick story that may or may not help with this conversation, but I was down at Sierra a couple of weeks ago, and I was in the hallway, and just down the hall, the 2nd and 3rd graders who are taking violin with OnBeat Studio. I don't know what they were doing in that classroom, but they were laughing and squealing, and it just sounded so joyful. And again, our musicians, our teaching musicians, are highly skilled, and whatever that teacher was doing in that classroom, those kids were learning music, having fun, and making friends. They were in a safe space. So if anyone is interested in helping us move this forward and expand, please let us know. Again, go to our website or contact me directly.
Yeah. Anybody else want to add anything else that we haven't covered that you'd like to share out?
I think just a shout out to you, because I did sense your hesitancy when we first pitched this, and rightfully so. I was a CEO for years. I understand people are skimming you every day trying to present something, but you did something. I worked with a lot of school districts, and this was one CEO to another CEO. I appreciate that you took the risk even though you were unsure.
Right.
And so here we are today. A lot of administrators wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they wouldn't take the risk.
Yeah, I think my approach obviously is if it benefits our kids, I want to try it, and so we had to try it, and I'm grateful that we did, and so like I said, I think we're in year 1, and I think you hit it right on the nose, Mr. Granger, in terms of just the faces, right, that you run into, the faces, and I can't even say this right because it brings me chills, but the look on their faces as you're in the classroom, the look of joy, the look of I'm enjoying myself, I'm learning. They were just so proud to hold their instrument and so wanting to demonstrate, look, this is what I've learned, right? And so it's cute to see the different age groups. You know, Sierra serves K through 8, and what are our age groups are in the program? Do you know that, Mr. Garcia?
We have 6th and 7th were the original ages, and then we incorporated the 2nd and 3rd graders, and we even have a couple 5th graders now joining the program.
Yeah, I remember they were the guitar, right? The 2nd and 3rd were doing guitar and violin?
Yep.
Okay. And so I remember them just fighting over wanting to show you and demonstrate what they've learned. It was so cute to see them. So I can't wait to go back, and see from when they started taking lessons to where they're at now and how far they've come along, with this skill. And so, I think one of the other things too is we want outcomes, and I know we're tracking some data, we're collecting some data because we want to show that when you bring community together, when you bring students together, that there are some positive outcomes here, and so I can't wait to see some of that. And so we have I'm grateful that they're getting professional lessons, because we have a lot of talented musicians in the district in terms of students, but a lot of them are self-taught, right? And so they might not learn the proper way, and I'm not a musician myself or never took music classes, so I can't even speak to it, but I'm just so amazed on how some of these kids are self-taught without lessons. Can you imagine with lessons? And so I'm sure their parents, I would love to hear some parent testimonials down the road as well in terms of, how it's shaped their children. And so as we close here, any last thoughts from Mr. Garcia, Lieutenant Schrouder?
Sure. Well, if anybody's interested in seeing the results, I'm sure people want to see what all of this amounts to. We will have a performance on May 13th. That's a Tuesday in the afternoon from 4 to 5. I believe it's there at Sunnyside, at Sierra K-8. And you'll get to see what the students have been able to do or to accomplish over the year. We do have a lot of new students as well that just started within the last month or so. So it's a variety of experience levels, but we are definitely proud of the work that the students have done. And I think it'll be a good time for anybody that goes and wants to watch and listen and just enjoy some music. Of course, that's always a challenge, is finding music that the students want to play. You mentioned students being self-taught, and and that's one of the lessons that I try to convey to my students, is that on your own you can get so good, and doing only what I say you could get so good. But if we work together and bring the best of our knowledge and experience with their passion and their drive and their ideas and innovations, we can exceed expectations and do things that nobody's done before, as far as at a public school level with young students. So the sky's the limit, and we're really just getting started and seeing what we can do together, and we're still just getting to know each other, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what further time with these students will bring. It sounds like we might have a summer session as well. So that would be good to get those students to come back in and keep their skills fresh, so that way the next school year we can just keep growing and we don't have to restart.
Yeah. Word will get around pretty quick. So,
I think so. Yeah.
Lieutenant Schrouder, you have any last thoughts, any last comments?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to just second the shout out to Miss Encinas. She has been just unbelievable in supporting the program. And really letting us go through the growing pains with a new program, getting through this first year, and being really intentional with how we're presenting this. She allowed us to bring in a presenter from the Child Advocacy Center and teach our instructors and teachers at Sierra on trauma-informed care, and how we're addressing the kids, how we're talking to the kids, and how we can do better as a group. So I'm extremely excited for the summer program. We're going to start recruitment efforts for the next school year with On Beat, and I think we're in the right place to get this foundation off the ground.
Very cool. All right, and we won't leave you guys out here. So, Mr. Granger, Ms. Wier, any last thoughts?
But I think, as an organizational point, we have 3 partners, each with different goals, whose goals come together and present to the same outcome, desired outcome. Right. How often does that happen?
Right.
But in the end, what I'm excited about was seeing those happy kids, because I believe happy kids make happy citizens, and happy citizens make good communities. And
absolutely.
In the end, that's what I'm interested in.
Absolutely. All right, we'll give the last words to Ms. Wier here.
Well, again, this is an innovative program, and really many thanks to our partners, Sunnyside Unified and the Tucson Police Department. It is an interesting mix of partners, and we are all pointed in the same direction, and we're all taking this leap of faith together. So thanks to each of our partners. It's been fun, and we're on our way.
We sure are. And so it truly feels good that we're doing something super productive here, and the outcomes we want is productive students, right? Productive communities, and and you have kids learning. You have kids learning, and when they're learning, and there's a purpose and passion behind it, they're gonna definitely succeed. And so you heard it here. You know, if you want to get involved, you reach out to Sierra. Come visit. We open our doors to the community. We'd love for you to come take a look. For those of you that are interested, parents, for those people that are interested in contributing financially, or just you're a music fan, reach out to Tucson Youth Music. You can find them on their website. You can contact Miss Wier here, and there's different ways to get involved. And so, you know, we're just excited about, you know, these opportunities. And I want to thank you all for being here and sharing this story, because it's an important one. And I think people need to hear more about it. So, you know, we're here for you, and we're here for these students, and we can't wait to, you know, give you another an update, you know, down the road here. So to our listeners, thank you for tuning in, and this concludes this episode of Somos Sunnyside. Hasta la próxima. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Somos Sunnyside. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it entertaining. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and share our podcast with la comunidad. For updates on future episodes and more, be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website at susd12.org. We appreciate your support and can't wait to have you back for the next episode. Hasta la próxima vez en Somos Sunnyside.